Deep in the forests of Kamloops, British Columbia, lies a secluded campsite shrouded in ancient secrets and dark stories of the past. Once home to old mining colonies, the hills are steeped in lore, the kind that whispers of those who still dwell unseen. This is where Aaron, his dad Mac, brother Ben, and Mac's friend Jim found themselves, surrounded by trees that seemed to hold centuries of untold mysteries. The four sat around the fire, laughing, sharing ghost stories under a fading sky. Shadows danced in the flickering firelight, adding a thrill to their stories. But the forest around them felt alive, like something was listening, a quiet, unseen presence just beyond the reach of their laughter. As the sun dipped low, something caught their eye, a blue tent, sitting high on the hill above them, standing out vividly against the trees. It was completely out of place, as though left there on purpose. An uneasy silence settled over them, and from that moment on, the air seemed charged with a silent threat. The night grew darker as they struggled with the generator, only to find it out of oil. Mac and Aaron took a long, winding drive to a distant store, leaving Ben and Jim to guard the campsite. The drive felt tense, headlights slicing through an endless wall of trees, the sense of isolation growing with each passing mile. Back at camp, after watching a movie, curiosity got the better of them. They climbed up the steep hill to investigate the tent, flashlight beams cutting through the thick darkness. But when they reached the top, the tent was gone. Only silence greeted them, and shadows loomed like hidden figures, as if whatever had been there had vanished without a trace. Later that night, they sat by the fire once more, each haunted by the vanished tent. Jim was the first to head to bed, but Mac, Ben, and Aaron stayed, eyes drawn to the dark forest around them. They shared more stories, voices hushed, as if afraid something in the woods might overhear. The next morning, Aaron woke before anyone else, finding the campsite strangely quiet. Sitting by the fire pit, he noticed a lone bird pecking at an abandoned hot dog. Soon, more birds gathered, unusually drawn to the spot. The sight was odd, a small swarm of birds, seemingly attracted to something invisible. After the strange morning, they climbed the hill once more, determined to find some trace of the blue tent. But as they reached the summit, they were met with only emptiness. The hilltop was bare, as if no one had ever been there, yet they knew what they'd seen. The hill seemed haunted by the absence of something inexplicable. They packed their things in tense silence, the memory of the tent casting a shadow over their morning. As they looked back one last time, a faint shadow appeared on the hill. Was it the tent, or something else? The forest seemed to close in, watching them leave, as though holding tight to its own dark secrets. As they left, the campsite lay still, shrouded in mist and shadow. From the hill, a vague outline appeared, barely visible through the fog. Was it the blue tent, or some ghostly remnant of their imagination? No one knew, but they could feel it. Something was left behind, lingering in the woods, waiting for the next group to wander into its secrets.